Hey everybody, this is Pooka bringing you another game video, but this one's a little different. This one is from the program PlayTCG. If you don't know what that is, it's actually a free program you can play online. Just go to playtcg.me and you can find this game. You can build decks for free and play against other people. So it's a neat little program that allows you to just play online and get some good practice in. So I'm going to start off by having no basics, so I gotta shuffle in and draw a new hand, show my opponent my hand, and this is actually a cool match because it'll feature two cards from the brand new set, which is Dark Explorers. I will be playing a fun Entei EX deck, and my opponent will be playing a Groudon EX deck. So, just two big EX Pokemon swinging at each other. Should be a good one. Now, he gets to go first, which is a pretty big deal. And by that I mean I get to go first, which is a pretty big deal. So yeah, I will get the first energy attachment. That's going to be a big deal. And really these decks don't do anything in the first couple turns. If you take a look at Entei EX, it's got Fire Fang. For 2 energy does 30, and then it burns. And then for 3 energy, uses Grand Flame, which does 90. And then you get to take a Fire Energy from your discard pile and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. So it's kind of neat in the fact that it powers up your other Enteis. Once you get one going, you can kind of fuel the rest of them. That's just kind of how the deck works. But until you get the other ones, or until you get the first one powered up, it really doesn't do anything. You know, 30 damage, not very good. So Groudon EX is kind of similar. It has a weak first attack and then a stronger second one. And I can't do anything on my first turn, and now he is going to attach as well. He has a Rocky Helmet. He's going to use a Random Receiver, a nice new card. Keep revealing the top cards until you find a supporter, and then you put it in your hand. So he used that to get a Professor Juniper. I also saw a Moo Moo Milk, so it looks like he's got some healing cards in there as well. Something I got to look out for. And right here, I'm just going to bench that first Entei EX. Playing Oak's New Theory and try to draw a Fire Energy. It's going to be a big deal. I need to not miss my energy attachment, otherwise I'm going to be in a lot of trouble, and it looks like I draw no energy. So, take a look at my discard. Nothing I can even junk arm for. So all I can do is pass, which is unfortunate. Now this takes away my entire advantage of going first. You know, I didn't get to attack on my second turn. So even though I went first, it didn't do anything for me. And now my opponent's at the advantage because he'll get to attack first. He's got that second energy, and he's going to go ahead and use Tromp, which does 20 damage to the active and then 10 to all my bench Pokemon, which is pretty annoying. And we'll go ahead and throw the damage on there. Pretty simple program to use. If you haven't tried it out before, I would recommend using it. And now I am going to have to play my Professor Juniper this turn, which is kind of annoying because I'm going to have to discard a bunch of cards, but I really need a Fire Energy this turn. Otherwise, I'm just going to fall really far behind. So I'm going to Heavy Ball, grab another Entei EX. Since Entei has a 3 retreat cost, I can do that. Then I'm just going to play as many cards as I can. Play a plus power. I have a decision. I can junk arm, discarding the max potion and the catcher for a plus power again, but my other options is just play max potion and heal the 10 off of my benched Entei EX, and I decided that's the better route, and I think it was. That damage could be pretty detrimental, especially considering Groudon EX's Giant Claw does 40 more if you have 20 on you already. So healing off any damage is going to be good, and I'm going to go ahead and attach my first energy, or my second energy, to Entei and an Eviolite, and then I hit him for 30 and burn. So, not a bad attack against a giant retreat cost Pokemon like Groudon. And if a couple burn flips go my way, maybe we can knock him out pretty soon. So thanks to that Eviolite, I won't be knocked out by his Giant Claw because it'll reduce the damage by 20. He is actually going to play a Moo Moo Milk, and he actually added too much damage. He should be at 60, not 70. So there's Moo Moo Milk Flip 2 coins and then remove 30 damage for each heads. So he is at 30 damage. Actually, no, he should be lower than that. He should be at 20 after that. But that's okay. He plays a potion as well to heal all of it off. You can see the full art Groudon EX there. Plays a plus power as well, and then a crushing hammer, which is really scary. That could have messed with me a lot. But fortunately, he got tails. He's gonna junk arm and replay the crushing hammer. He's gonna flip again. Rolls another 1 on that die. It's unlucky for him. Removing that energy would have been devastating for me. And it looks like he can use the giant claw attack this turn. It'll do 100 damage because of Eviolite. And really, I don't have a whole lot in my hand, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why he didn't actually just junk arm for the plus power. That way, if I went ahead and used any attack, Rocky Helmet would have knocked me out. So that was kind of a mistake on his end, but no big deal, I guess. Well, it actually was a pretty big deal. Now I'll be able to attack him, and he will have to attack me back. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to do anything. So now, just take a look. Unfortunately, there's no switch in my discard pile. Otherwise, I would have played a junk arm for switch, maybe. Played that energy switch. That could have worked out for me. But the way it is now, I'm just going to go ahead and attach to my benched Entei EX. And I think I'm just going to pass this turn. I don't want to play an N because it seemed like his hand is pretty weak. It's kind of small. And I want to wait to play my N until he has taken 2 prizes. That way he'll go down to 4 cards. So I'm just going to do 30 and burn him again. And if he knocks out the active, he takes the 2 prizes. And then my EXP shear activates. And I'll be able to get an energy on that benched Entei EX. And I'll be able to use Grand Flame next turn for 90 damage, and we'll start to get rolling here. So he is back at 30 damage, and I'm just kind of seeing if he flipped for burn or not. It gets kind of confusing. This is a pretty free program. By that I mean there's no restrictions. It's not like Pokemon TCG Online where it restricts you from playing, like if you already played an energy, then you can't play another energy from your hand. This is just kind of, both players know what the rules are, and you both kind of abide by them. You just kind of trust that your opponent won't cheat because, I mean, why would they? There's nothing on the line. It's just used to practice, and why would you cheat when you're practicing? So, there's a lot of trust involved with these kind of programs. It does keep a log of everything that happened, just so you can go back and look at it, but yeah, there's room for error because the program doesn't keep track of things. So my opponent does play another potion, so all of my hard work has gone to waste. He's healed all that damage off of his Groudon, and looks like he's going to be able to knock out my active. And yep, he uses Giant Claw. He has to use Giant Claw instead of Tromp because of that Eviolite, which is pretty helpful for me. And I activate the experience share and promote the new Entei EX. Then I'll be able to use Grand Flame and start charging up the benched one. So this is kind of neat, and you'll start to see the point of this deck now that I have an Entei powered up. So the biggest weakness with this deck certainly is getting the first Entei powered up in time. Seems like almost every time the first one's going to get knocked out before you really get anything going. And I'm going to use Random Receiver here and reveal about 38 cards from my deck. And I finally get a Bianca. I was looking for an N there to try to disrupt him. He shuffled my hand back in with N last turn, so I was trying to return the favor, but I missed it. I drew a Bianca instead, and then I'm going to play Oak's New Theory, shuffle in, draw 6 new cards, just kind of refresh my hand a little bit. I do have a Heavy Ball and another Entei. One of the nice things about this deck, you'll notice it's very similar to the Solo Terrakion deck that I covered here on our channel not too long ago. The difference is Entei EX is an EX. So, with Terrakion, whenever your opponent knocked you out, you only took one prize, and then you had to revive to get it back. You only played 4 Pokemon, so you had to play revive. With Entei, it's a little different. Since you know that, okay, Entei gives up 2 prizes. If my opponent knocks out 3 of them, I actually lose the game. So, you don't have to waste deck space on cards like Revive, because when are you ever going to need to revive an Entei EX? I mean, you're really not going to have to. And, yeah. That's kind of a neat aspect of this. It opens up more space to run other cards, which we'll see as the game goes on. So he's going to play another Moo Moo Milk and heal some more damage. And then he's going to play an N of his own. And we're just kind of resolving some dispute about a burn flip. Like I said, it's hard to keep track of this stuff, but not a big deal. So he is going to go ahead and draw 4. I will draw 6. And I draw a ton of energy. And you know, he'll be able to Giant Claw, hit me for 120 again, but I'm almost certainly going to knock him out next turn with Grand Flame. And I'm just going to take a look because I do play cards like Switch and Energy Switch, so if possible, I really want to not attack with the active Entei EX because it'll get knocked out. What I want to do is try to preserve the damaged ones, get them on the bench, and then attack with the new ones. Eventually, the point with this deck is to just attack with the new Enteis, and he's going to Crushing Hammer. Now that could be a big deal if he decides to discard from the benched one. That's going to prevent me from pulling off any Energy Switch shenanigans. So if he discards from the benched one, I won't have that option next turn. I'm going to be forced to attack with the active one, which will get knocked out. So he actually discards from the active Entei instead, which was kind of silly, I think. I can just attach to that again and attack. And then he actually junk arms his whole hand away for another Crushing Hammer, and he gets Tails. So my opponent now has no hand, and suddenly things are looking up. You know, I'm down 2 prizes. I got an Entei EX with 140 damage on it, but it could be worse. And I draw a Switch, so that's actually going to help out quite a bit. He flips heads on the burn, so I'm definitely going to need to use Grand Flame this turn. And I don't even want to risk it. I'm just going to go for it. Let's see, I can Junk Arm. All I can really get back is Eviolite, unfortunately. There's nothing that's going to help me out. So I'm going to have to draw an Energy Switch off of my Juniper. There's no Energy Switch in the discard pile. So I'm going to have to get somewhat lucky here. There's 27 cards in my deck. I'm going to draw 7 of them. There's probably 2 or 3 Energy Switch in there. So I think I'm going to Junk Arm for the Eviolite. That way my Entei is a lot sturdier. Reduces all damage by 20. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to have to hope to draw that Energy Switch from the Juniper. And in a perfect world I would draw a Max Potion as well. And hey, look at that. Energy Switch. I get to move it up to the new Entei. And I'll get a knockout. Now I have a Junk Arm. I could have gone ahead and Junk Armed for Max Potion. In retrospect, I probably should have done that. I should have done that this turn. So I could just get an energy on a fresh one. And it would have removed all damage. It would have removed his option to catch her and knock it out. But it's relatively safe because he's got no hand. He's got 1 card now. He Junk Armed his entire hand away, and he really gave me an opportunity to come back here. I was pretty dead, I think. And if he would have kept up an onslaught of Groudon EXs, I think I would have lost. But now all he can do is Tromp and do 10 to my bench Entei EX because Eviolite prevents the 20 on the active. So kind of a pitiful turn from him. And now I can Max Potion the benched one. Heal all the damage off of it. Perfect. And attach. And then I can just hit him for 90 with Grand Flame once again. And I will go to 40 damage due to the Rocky Helmet. But I get to power up that bench Entei. And right here, things are looking almost like I can't lose. Unless he top decks a supporter or something, looks like he's got a Moo Moo Milk there. So heads there would prevent me from knocking him out, which it does. He'll go down to 60 damage, which means he has 120 hit points left. You know, Entei EX, 90 damage, won't knock out most things in 2 hits. In fact, it knocks out pretty much everything in 2 hits, unless they have Eviolite. But cards like Potion and Moo Moo Milk actually disrupt it quite a bit. Just because it adds up perfectly. 90 times 2 is 180, exactly enough to knock out this Groudon. But he has a Moo Moo Milk. I can't believe I'm saying this, but he has a Moo Moo Milk that prevents his Groudon EX from being knocked out. And now he's going to survive for sure next turn. We'll see if he can get another Groudon into play, though. Because this one's not going to live too long. And I don't know what he would do. I haven't seen an EXP share at all or anything. Plays another Moo Moo Milk. Goes down to 30 damage. That one's kind of unnecessary, I think. You know, he's already dodged the 2-hit knockout. No reason to play another Moo Moo Milk there. Then he's going to Junk Arm. Not sure what he's going to get. There's plenty of stuff in that discard pile. So I just want to expand on that. There's no difference between healing off 30 damage and healing off all 90 damage. Both ways, you're just still getting the same result, which is preventing a 2-hit knockout. The only time that's ever going to make a difference is if you then play another Potion or Moo Moo Milk and you heal off the next multiple of 90, which is 120, which is pretty unlikely. But yeah, so playing the Moo Moo Milk there, not a great idea. He probably should have saved that one, but that's okay. He's going to catch her up the benched Entei, since that one doesn't have an Eviolite, I think. Yeah, because all he can do is Tromp. Unfortunately, he did not draw an energy, and that's going to be big for me. So right here, I'm really just feeling fine about my position. I can maybe search for another Entei EX, but it looks like I'm just going to do 90 and get another fire on the benched one. You actually don't have a choice. If there's a fire in your discard pile, you do have to get one. So an unnecessary 4th energy goes on to my benched Entei EX. Maybe that can be used later for some energy switching shenanigans, so that won't go to waste. My opponent does have another Potion here, so he goes down to 90, and this is what I was talking about with that Moo Moo Milk not really helping. Now he needs another healing card, and he's used a ton of Potions and Moo Moo Milks already, so he needs to draw one more in order to survive again. It's being really annoying, though, I'll tell you that much. If he does get one more, that'll be perfectly worth it, but that's, what, 4 healing cards he had to commit to survive another turn? That's a lot. You're going to run out at that rate. So he does Heavy Ball for another Groudon. The problem here, if he cannot survive this turn, then he's going to have to attach to the bench Groudon in order to attack. Unless he has an EXP share, then he could save an energy. But yeah, he's going to attach to the bench Groudon, and all he can do is Tromp again. And go figure, it really looked like I was going to get destroyed this game, but now it looks like I'm in a pretty good position to win. I'll be able to go down to 2 prizes here. I'll have 2 Entei EXs powered up. Just going to go ahead and Junk Arm here. Probably grab a Heavy Ball, so I can grab that 4th Entei out of my deck. So I'm going to search my deck. There we go. Grab the 4th Entei. Now, a reason you might still play a Revive in this deck is just because one of your Entei EXs could be prized, and that would be pretty unfortunate in a situation like this. But for the most part, you don't really need Revive for this deck. And I'm going to Grand Flame for a knockout. Then power up the brand new Entei EX. So I got a ton of energy in play, and he only has 1. So the difference between these 2 decks has been the energy acceleration. Even though he's had the healing to keep himself alive, he's kind of missed energy drops throughout the game. And when you do that, there's no way to keep up with a deck that just keeps getting that fire back from the discard, powering up new attackers over and over. And I don't see a way for my opponent to really get out of this at this point, especially considering... and yeah, he actually just says, I'm going to scoop, and good game. So, that was a pretty weird game, to be honest. A straight Entei EX deck versus a straight Groudon EX deck. And this time, Entei comes out on top, so I think my deck was a little more unusual. It's just Entei EX, one of the least talked about cards from the new set, but it's actually fairly solid, so hope you guys enjoyed the game. It was a lot of fun to play, and hope you guys got some inspiration, maybe some creativity for some new decks, and leave some feedback if you have any. Other than that, thanks for watching. I've been Pooka from the Top Cut, and I will see you guys next time.